From the bottom to the very top, Sauerland socks beat the rest. In 50 countries. The two cousins, Paul and Franz-Peter Falke, are leading the company into its fourth generation. What began in the 19th century with a few items knitted by hand has now become an international textile and fashion company, which employs around 2,500 employees, over 1,200 of which in Germany. For the majority of its employees, Falke is not just where they work, but rather their home.
As far as men are concerned, it's actually rather strange in Germany. According to sock etiquette, well-groomed men wear knee-length socks.
It takes 3 to 8 minutes to produce a sock. Producing legwear continues to be a time-consuming process. Every sock and every pair of tights must be produced individually. Due to the mechanical knowledge required, the knitting machines are generally operated by men. The other work, which involves turning, shaping, and above all closing off the tops of the socks, is generally carried out by women. Speaking of women, compared to our neighbors, we Germans are still reluctant to buy socks. German women only buy 10 pairs of fine knit socks a year, compared to at least 24 pairs bought by women in Japan. For example, this pink pair of socks from our luxury range costs 60 euros. These are the socks of choice of Russian businessmen. In order to close off the tops of the socks, 240 loops must be pulled by hand on the rim.
That is the very old method of closing off the tops. We traditionally call this linking, and it involves linking all of the loops together one by one, using a crossover stitch. You cannot see the seam at all. These socks do not leave any marks on the leg, and particularly for the men who buy our socks, I would say that 2/3 of what is produced using this method is intended for men. We don't produce as many women's socks at all. These are mostly produced by machine. That is to say that women are not as sensitive as men.
Having worked for more than 45 years in the loop department, in addition to the battle against bare legs, the company is also dedicating itself to outerwear. In the mid-1970s, Falke knitted primarily for other companies, including Dior, Moschino, Boss, and Joop. The transfer of knowledge from Schmallenberg to the rest of the world. We now have our own range of men's outerwear once again in an attempt to strengthen our own brand. The company is still benefiting to this day from the inspiration of that time. Anyone wishing to be successful on the international market must, first of all, constantly reinvent themselves, and secondly, be constantly on the move. Breakfast in Florence. The Burlington brand must be portrayed as a contemporary brand at the forthcoming shows.
And the idea was to see whether we could achieve the effect of a moving billboard with such an LCD. It doesn't look bad at all.
The window shopping trip which follows provides an opportunity to check out the products being offered by the competition, particularly at Louisa in the Via Roma, where the current top designers showcase their collections. It costs around 200,000 euros there to display your product on a mannequin during the fashion exhibition.
It is obvious that we somehow had